to incentivize exporters. We said both these exporters are the ones that the goose that laying the egg. Let's provide them an incentive so that me and you can continue to have your foreign currency called US dollars. So that those people who are producing the tobacco, they can go back to produce more tobacco, and me and you are going to continue to have a foreign exchange. So that the miner can continue to go under the ground and produce the gold. But right now, if you don't do so, the gold will be smuggled out of Zimbabwe. Because the people who are smuggling gold in Zimbabwe, they give it a premium. And therefore we will lose gold, therefore we lose exports. So whichever way you look at it, if you don't provide an incentive, it means that you are going to have less and less of foreign currency in the nostro accounts, and therefore you are going to have less and less foreign exchange. That's what we're talking about here. And we then say to ourselves, how should we give this 5% incentive, export incentive? Should we give it by cash? We said no. If we do so, there will be smuggling of money. So there will be externalization of money. There is capital flight, which we are seeing over there. And we said, oh no, maybe the best way forward to provide with using an instrument that will be externalized in the country. But this is a token of appreciation. Is it fair to provide, to give a token of appreciation to someone who has done very well? I think so. I think it is fair to provide to provide an appreciation for someone who is exported. We also spoken about saving culture, the lending rates. We spoke about the import priorities that we've done. Rationale. The next slide. Rationale for the bonus scheme. We look at export competitiveness. Zimbabwe is a high-cost producing country, wherein you need to ensure that the cost structures are reduced so that we can export. Otherwise, we are going to do importing. And there was nothing to use to import. Right now, the companies are complaining that we are taking that time to make their payments because of operation in foreign currency. It is not fair not to continue to provide incentives for us, me and you can get more foreign currency. You can send your children to school in Zimbabwe. Tackle Lego, we're promoting a strong US dollar. Tackle limited the circulation of US dollars in the economy. To tackle smuggling of goods, especially minerals such as gold. And to motivate speed remittance of funds into Zimbabwe, secure increase of employment, sustain foreign exchange position in the country. And the next slide, we finish. The funding mechanism of the bonus scheme. We thought we need a thank you, Mr. Morale, and thank you all for coming to the Reserve Bank, and I'm just following your invitation. So I was happy to be invited to this dialogue to exchange with you some views about our economy and also where we believe we're going and why we are doing what we are doing. And also take into account what you just also explained to us. I think it's very important to have this dialogue, to have this discourse. I think it's good for Zimbabwe, it's good for the citizens of Zimbabwe, and therefore there is no apology that we can make at this juncture. But other than thanking you for what you have just said, and also to thank you for the concerns that we have listened to. We've had. Yes. In doing my presentation, let me just start by giving you my slides to give you the context of where the economy is and where we are going, and also why we are doing what we are doing. I think it will also help you to appreciate. Obviously, by the end of this meeting, what we expect that this would have also understood us coming from, and then you might disagree with us. That's because you are right. Do so, and we also need to understand what's happening. So I want to pray. Let's agree on the principles of fact. So at the end of the day, when you say someone is not feeling well, let's say he's not feeling well, and then you say whether they need medication or not. Or if someone is dead, you say he's dead. So someone says no, he's not dead, he's alive. He's dead. So at least we need to understand where the economy is coming from. We understood the legal side. My former classmate here, Vincent, were somewhere class in economics. So I think these are not new faces at all. And Maura is my pastor. So,
I think Susan, let me just clarify that. I've prayed for the men before. But, no, I do appreciate that.
I'm saying this not for anybody, but just saying that all of you, we know each other. We are Zimbabwe citizens. Zimbabwe is a small country, only 30 million people, so we know each other very well. So we don't want to behave as if we are enemies. We are all Zimbabweans, first and foremost. And because of that reason, that's why I will not refuse when you invite me to this meeting. Because after what we are doing is for people to utilize, not for me, but for everyone in Zimbabwe. So let me start by giving you my slides. There are very few. I'll go through them very fast, and then we can also leave time for us to have more dialogue. So the first one, the first slide there, just give you the major challenges that this country is facing. What I call the major economic challenges that the economy is facing. We are basically facing two major problems or challenges. The first one is current account of the balance of payments is a deficit, meaning that we are consuming more than what we are producing. That's the fact, right? We are consuming more than what we are producing. As a result, there is great need to enhance production. Because if we do produce goods and services, it means we minimize our imports. It means that we can export more. And that factories will open, and that Zimbabwe will be a self-reliant economy in terms of especially food that we are importing. So that one, I think, is a fact. The second one is that we have a narrow fiscal space. This one, you have heard many times that we are spending 82% on wages from the money that we collected, which means we are just paying salaries and value to money for developmental purposes, for operations and for capital expenditure. That's why there is minimum capital expenditure in the country. So when there is no capital accumulation in the country, it means that the economy will only be able to grow in as many as possible. So it means there is great need for fiscal consolidation. Again, this affects. Therefore, the shortage of cash, which you will see as queues events, is therefore a symptom of these challenges. If we don't export more, it means we have more cash in the economy. If you are not producing, it means you need to have more imports, which are substituting production. So we've been adding other tools, and therefore by so doing, we've been exporting cash, big jobs, out of the country, meaning that we are importing products from outside. We are substituting our domestic production by imports, because we need to eat now and then. So that's what we're saying. So we are having these two major challenges as a business economy. So it is this context that was driving the way we are proceeding. The second slide. Second slide is give you numerical and numbers of what the economy is going through, or it's been going through. Starting 1990 to 2015, end of the year. That graph there, that chart, that slide, shows us the blue being the exports, the red or orange being the imports. If you notice what is happening there is that from 1990 to 2007, our exports have been almost the same as exports. I spoke about current account deficit, and it's sustainably so. Our trade balance. If you take exports minus imports, you get the trade balance. If you check, notice what happened from 2009 or 2008, and the peak period being 2011, that rate, which is also on our flag, the rate is dangerously high. it means that we are importing much more than we are exporting. That's very unhealthy. That disease needs a cure. That disease. One of the reasons why we have in that side is because after dollarization in 2009, the profiteering mode came from the Zim dollar era to the US dollar era. So you found banks by that time giving loans for 50%, 55%. Now, business community increased their prices at a rate as if dollars. Importing culture even increased further. So the difference between the blue and the red is being financed by money either from the diaspora, money from goods that have been smuggled, or loans, and therefore it's not sustainable. It needs to be dealt with by the citizens of Zimbabwe, whom you represent. How do you manage such a gap? A word of mouth? I don't think so. You need policy measures to address this phenomenon. And this phenomenon needs to be addressed. This is exactly the context in which we are coming from. That how do we increase exports in Zimbabwe? How do we reduce import dependence in Zimbabwe? So that this is a two to balance. All economies, from China being the biggest consumer of goods in this world, they do balance their trade. South Africa, they do. Zimbabwe should do the same. We over-liberalized the economy in 2009. We left it to free market forces, whereby now what we are seeing are the diminishing returns of the free market forces, Because when you leave things to market, people just import and import without producing. This is where we are. And this is the position. And these affects life. Zimbabwe is an open economy, meaning that we depend on balance of payments development, we depend on foreign exchange, which we are using as a medium of exchange. We are using foreign exchange as a medium of exchange. I think you need to repeat it many times. Because when you go to the bank, in a normal economy, you say foreign exchange. Sometimes we're going to exchange and get what? Foreign exchange. But here we're using foreign exchange as a medium of exchange, which is very good for the economy if it was what? Attracting current. So what we need to have, we need an economy that can attract capital. So at the end of the day, we can increase the capital. So that's these aspects. The next page or slide, just to say that where that money, how does money go into the system? These are the sources, applications, and leakages of foreign exchange from Zimbabwe. To the left there, so your exports. Your diaspora remittances, external loans, foreign investment, aid, and grants comes to Zimbabwe through the Nostro accounts. These are your accounts outside Zimbabwe, which correspond in the banking fees. This is where money goes into. And from those same accounts, we then use the same accounts for purposes of importation of goods and services. We also use the same accounts to bring in money from outside into Zimbabwe. When you've got US dollars that you go and get from the bank, that money comes out from the Nostro account. After we have exported the goods and services, after we've received the diaspora remittances, we now also pay service payments. This one is very critical because at the end of the day, we need to know where the money comes. When we have money in Zimbabwe, how is it coming to Zimbabwe? It's coming from the exporters. That artisanal miner in Matebele who sleeps underground looking for gold is the one that gives us foreign currency. That woman who is sleeping at the ocean floors of tobacco is the one who is giving us foreign currency. Those are the people who are making money available in Zimbabwe. And if you take of them, the four is Mahela was speaking. The five products, your tobacco, your gold, your diamonds, your platinum, are the ones that are providing more money in this country. Five products in Zimbabwe, they constitute about 75 to 80% of our foreign currency in this country. That's what is sustaining us as a country. And therefore, when you talk about looking after the exporters, it's not by omission, it's by design, so that they can continue to give us more money into these FC accounts, into these nostro accounts, because they are the ones that bring foreign currency into Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, as you look at the right-hand side, some of the money is not remaining in the country. Some of the money, the red arrow there takes that money going out. Either it's unbanked funds, or his money is being internalized, or there's capital flight. There are many reasons for that reason. Most of it, as I said before, confidence. Now, this leakage and banking of money is not good business practice. Throughout the whole world, best practice that when money is received by any trader, it should be banked so that it can be separate within the economy, so that it gives the business that capacity to expand. Otherwise, the business, if you don't bank the money, you also shooting yourself in the foot. The next slide, just for information purposes again. And also, so what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to build the context in which we found ourselves in, so I can see why we're doing what we're doing. So I can give you a context, and then we can try to understand where we're coming from. The use of multiple currency systems in Zimbabwe, not the multi-currency system. We've stated this many times, but the dollar is continued to replace the rand in the economy. That is with its own challenges. Is that because the demand is now more on the US dollar, unlike before, where we could spread the demand for cash amongst many currencies, it's now concentrated on one currency. So it means that we now need to import more US dollars to satisfy the demand. We used to import maybe half right now. So we now need to satisfy the local market by the US dollar as opposed to have a range of currencies to satisfy demand in Zimbabwe. The US dollars also increased because we're now putting more emphasis on one currency. So what the idea here, which comes out of the import of this table, is that we need to spread the cash demand for cash so to minimize concentration risk. And I think it's very fair to do so. It's very fair and legitimate to do so. So that because we're in a multi-currency system. So what we've done now is that all the policies that we've now been coming up with are guided by these slides. That this is the context in which we're coming from. So, if you see the next slide, just again for information purposes. The next slide shows you the relationship between the nostro and the RTGS account. When you are paying your taxes, if you do pay them, if you do pay them, those who are paying taxes, what by company individuals, you pay them through RTGS. To Zimra, to the status account, in the status account, that's where salaries are paid for, or civil service payments or government payments are paid through the exchequers account. But when a person is being paid or civil service in the civil salary, what does he want? He wants what? Cash. Where does cash come from? Nostro. Who is Nostro? Exports. I think now you can see what happened there. So we are now funding your RTGS balances by Nostro. So I need to bring cash, report cash, so I come into that to the RTGS. This way we are also saying, so our policy measure there was that we want the idea here is to ensure that we do not import cash to pay people here in Zimbabwe, but that we use cash in the Nostro mainly for importing goods and services so the economy can expand. We import fuel, we import raw materials, so I come and go into business. This is exactly what it is. But then we are also forced to import cash. Some of it is leaks out of Zimbabwe. We all know that, it's not a secret. So when you come to our policy measures, it goes that easy. The next slide there is as an economist, we always want to draw diagrams. I think that's what I've noticed. I think we always draw supply and demand, we draw PP curves, right possibility curves. So if you ask me, 2009-2015, that's we all the way, we arrived very fast in 2009, 2008, up to 2018. Man was coming to Zimbabwe, and the man was going also forward, but it was so open, it was so liberalized. Now, we are in that current period, strong period, where we need to change behavior so that we can push through together in that narrow path. So that in the day, the anticipated trajectory is that we are going out of it. We need to go out of it like that. So, over liberalization of the economy, minimum foreign currency exchange in the system, externalization of resources, and the import and the bill and the export statics, and then the trade balance that we have already discussed, and then currently foreign exchange management system need to be put in place because the resources are not abundant. We have a scarcity of resources. The basic economic principle is about the scarcity of resources. Now when you have a scarcity of resources, you exercise choice. And when you make choices, you make priorities. You make priorities, you make what you call you cause what you call opportunity cost. The foregone conclusion or line of cost. So we need to make some priorities in ourselves as a country, as a citizen of Zimbabwe, to make sure that this pass through again. So this is the context in which we'll be seeing. So at the end of the day, we now come to the measures that we introduce. We introduced 4 measures on the cash shortages and 4 measures on the supply side. Unfortunately, the measures have been misunderstood either because of fear or because we lacked the clarity on our part to say but our statement was very clear, but maybe because of fear, the lack of confidence has caused the people to misunderstand these policies. So on the policy side, of cash shortage side, we have 4 measures. The first one was to promote the use of other currencies within the basket of currencies. Meaning that we need to ensure that we spread the risk of concentration risk. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, there is a danger in having a concentration risk. They say in English, we are putting eggs in one basket. And we are seeing the difficulties of putting our eggs in one basket. Because everyone wants $US which don't bring here, which are printed by export. Who are the printing press of foreign currency in Zimbabwe? Exporters. So the year that we need so much, it's not coming from our pockets, it's coming from the exporter. The old woman in Jendambuya or in Chipinge or in Tambara where I come from, using the foreign currency from exporters. From the woman who I'm talking about, it's the auction floors. From my proposer, who is in Matebele. Those are our heroes. Not me and you. Unless if you are yourself, you are also in our proposals. I'm not. And therefore sometimes it's easier said than done. Because sometimes we forget the source of foreign exchange, where it's coming from. So if you represent them very well, yes, that's good. And if as citizens, if you don't represent those people, then we have a problem. Which we are using right now. We need to ensure that we restore, promote, and sustain the multi-currency system. So it means that the shops, the traders, government departments, utility providers, parastatals, they also need to accept the other currencies because we are in a multi-currency system. So government started with all their parastatals, with the local authorities to accept the other currencies. What does it mean for me and you? If you go to a bank, if you are given rands, for example, or euros, for example, you are able to use them. It's now usable. So we are, instead of now providing the currency X source, which is the exporter, it is at the user level that the foreign currency is going to be accepted. Limiting cash with the lower limits. You want to talk?
I'll ask you to round up.
I'm just finishing.
That's fine. But so if you can just go ahead and round up, it will be okay, sir.
I thought we were going to finish it for
No, yes, we are.
So we got 1 hour. Sorry. I want to spend your time because you invited me. So I'm quite. So it's okay. Just give me about 5 or so minutes. The second one, we're limiting the cash with the dollar limits. I have many people say that 1,000 is nothing. Colleagues, let's not lie to each other here. No, let's not lie to each other here. Because $1,000 per transaction per day, although it's not time right now. Because some of you were criticizing the $1,000 per month, per day. That's not much. That's not enough. You know what? This is Zimbabwe. Per capita income for Zimbabwe is $1,000 per year. Per capita income. Which means that Zimbabwe, out of 40 million people, our average per day is $3 per day. These are facts. In any case, there is no country without limits on their ATM machines. If you know those countries, please send me some information. In Zambia, it's 4,000 rand, it's 4,000 kwacha, which is $400. South Africa, 5,000 rand. Even America, even in Switzerland, 800 Swiss francs. UK, why do banks or why do countries give ATM limits? Because of anti-money laundering. Because if you go to ATM machine and just money every day, no one's we are watching you. So it's an anti-money laundering technique of make sure that money doesn't go out. But of course, right now the banks don't give you all the money that you want because of scarcity. So it needs to be understood.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.